Good morning, everybody. We are back in a paint booth, and looking across the field there, you can see the heavy haze. Super humid out today, and sun's just coming up, and it's already about 75 degrees out, so it's going to be a tricky day for doing any painting. But I want to go over something with you on the body, and a lot of controversy on this as well, is just like body filler in a body and stuff like that, and leaving the spot welds or showing them. From the factory, the bodies came. I think you see that seam there. All the seams were just wide open. They were spot welded together. There was no paint or anything between the seams because they were spot welding them. And when it rained, or when you wash your vehicle and you spray water in there, it goes right down in the seams, and that's where most bodies begin their rusting. The seams start blowing out, and when I do a body, I seam seal everything. And I've got some in the gun here this morning, and this is just the stuff I use. You can use whatever you like. I use a 3M 8405. Now this is clear stuff. I like the clear. They also make a tan looking one, which is 8505. And either one of them works real good. I don't prefer the real heavy bodied urethane seam sealers. I like the 3M. I've been using it for years, and it's perfect. It's real good. By the time the CJ5 came out, you had big areas where the pocket was here, and from the underneath, from the factory, they put in a heavy a putty. You just peel it off and stick it in there with your fingers, because they were starting to realize they had to keep water out of the seams. They didn't seam seal like that seam, but from underneath, they jammed a piece of putty up there. It looks like they just stuck it up there with their thumb. And that's just how they did it, as the bodies were coming down the line. And sometimes it was before paint, sometimes it was after paint. I'm going to try and get you in there. I left some of the original there that was super stuck on there. There's a piece of the body putty I was talking about. They just smushed it in there. So they knew that it was critical to stop the water. Now there's sometimes when I do a body for folks, they absolutely don't want any seam sealer in their body. And there's a lot of guys and girls, there's a lot of them that look at their vehicle and they believe they're going to be judged like a 57 Corvette or something, or a super classic car, a Bugatti or a, something like that. It's kind of crazy. Most vehicles now are not being judged on a point level, although guys go about their restorations like that. I don't believe there are a lot of people who could even judge a Jeep correctly. And when people don't want the seam sealer, there's no guarantee on the paint work or anything like that, because as soon as a lot of people will wash their Jeep and they'll wash out the inside, and as soon as they do that, the water flows right down in the seams, gets all in between everything, right in here, and the rust begins immediately upon a finished painted body. I do my best to try and do the best job, and if anybody out there would like to be able to drive their Jeep, not worry about the seams starting to give you grief after a short period of time, seam sealer is the way to go. We're going to put some of this down, and it's clear so you might not see it well, but I'll show you the before and the after. And then, especially under the fuel tank there, you get caught in one rainstorm and you've got a ton of water in that seam. And you know, it doesn't take long. You look at the original bodies, and you know, on all the seams, that's where they start to bust, you know. But I'm going to lay some of this seam sealer down. I want to show you what it looks like. We're going to do top and bottom, and we'll spin the body around, but I'll show you what it looks like as it goes down. Okay guys, got all the seam sealer down. I know it's hard to see in there because I used a clear on this body, but I'll show you the before and after. You can still see through the clear and see the seam there, and I'll show you after I put a coat of material on there. But I got the inside, the underside, and everywhere there was factory putty I put seam sealer, and this will go a long way towards keeping this body in perfect condition for many years. So when they wash it, they don't have to worry about getting water down in there. I got all behind where the fuel tank's going to go, down the side, up in the foot area. So we should be able to keep out all types of moisture. Just on a humid day, you know, you get moisture in everything, and the seam sealer will keep everything out. So I am going to put some material on the inside of the body. I want to start with a couple extra coats in there. I'm going to do the inside of the body. I'm not super happy with the way the day is turning out and the humidity. We're supposed to be up into the mid-90s today, and that primer just dries a little too fast. So while it's still early, it's been about 45 minutes since I seam sealed. Got to let that dry for a while, and since it's still early, I am going to hit the inside of the body and get all the surfaces on the inside done before it gets too terribly hot. So that's what's coming next, and I'll try and get you some footage if I can, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay guys, I got a quick coat of primer on here, and I just wanted to show you what a finished seam sealed seam looks like. You can barely tell the difference between a factory seam and a properly filled seam sealed seam if you don't put it on too heavy. And the only thing you're missing is the crack where the seam would be. So it looks real good. Let me zoom in on the other side there. Everything's gray looking. Oh yeah, it's hard to see, but we have the protection of the seams being sealed now. I think I can get you in over here. Look right in on the top of the wheelhouse, around the bow pocket. We don't have to worry about water penetrating that, humidity, dirt, grime, anything. You can wash the inside, you can wash the outside, and not worry about starting any rust. There are times with those guys that really like to wash their Jeep every single time they drive it. They come back and they wonder why it's rusting so bad. Especially if you guys are putting a Filipino body on. They come pre-rusted already in the seams. And if you don't seam seal them, it won't be long before your paint's popping right off. I've seen it in less than a year where there's paint chipping off and peeling off and the seams are busting. But I very lightly filled that seam back there. On the outside you can barely see it. You can still see the factory seam, but deep in there I had a small nozzle, and deep in there is seam sealer. So we can get the paint to go in there, but water and junk isn't going to get in there. So I like to do it. I'm just giving you guys a heads up if you'd like to do it. The 3M is very good quality stuff. You won't be disappointed with it. And the inside will get a few coats of high build primer, same as the outside and the underneath. And we're just fighting the heat and the humidity today. This stuff is not drying at all. You could see it's been 20 minutes and I still have a shine on that. It's just not flashing. So I'm not going to try and rush it today. We've got the inside seam sealed, the underneath seam sealed, and a coat of primer on all of that. And we're going to call it quits today. I don't want to try and rush the paint. So we'll be back, and we're ready now to shoot the same white that we have on everything else all over the entire body, and continue on with the painting process. So just a short one today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you on the next video. As always, thanks for watching.